We're going to go to someone who's been waiting a long time. We're going to go to Daniel in Texas, hopefully.
Hi, Daniel.
Oh,
welcome to the line. You're in, bud. You're in. You're here.
Howdy.
What's up? Hey.
Howdy, heathens. God, it's a miracle. I'm on.
You did it. Yep. We all have to believe in God now.
Nothing short of a miracle could never have happened otherwise.
You need higher standards for miracles.
So,
all right.
So, a couple of things first. Y'all guys are the bee's knees. And what's the policy on cussing on the show?
Fucking don't care. Do whatever you're gonna do. Oh wait, that's my channel. I don't
already
know.
talked
fucking bee's knees.
Rape and Hitler have
Paul,
come up
you're the
already,
shit,
so
dude.
whatever you're gonna do.
Right, Paul, you're the fucking shit, dude. I love you. Shannon,
Awesome.
you're all right.
That's fair.
Okay.
That's fair.
You're suspect, my friend. You're
I
suspect.
co-sign that.
Okay, so you'll have to forgive me. This is the second thing. If my story is a little discombobulated, of course, I keep up with this content amongst other things, and I was just scrolling. I saw y'all were live, and y'all had literally just started, so I said, fuck it. This is the first time I'm ever going to call into anything. I figured this was more appropriate than getting yelled at by Matt and him getting frustrated by Eric because he doesn't agree with them. So I said, I'll call this show.
Okay.
So forgive me if I don't make if it seems a little winded when I'm trying to explain my story. Are y'all still there? Have I lost you?
Yeah,
still
we're
here.
here. We're listening.
Do your
We're waiting
best.
for your story.
Do your best, Daniel. We're here for you.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I didn't know if you. I kind of rant. So
Okay.
Jesus. When I was 6, my mom was visited by some Jehovah's Witnesses, and of course she ended up getting real big into that. And I have I'm the oldest of 3 children. I've got a younger brother and younger sister, and they're still Jehovah's Witnesses as well as my mother. So I grew up on Jehovah's Witnesses, and I kind of want to touch on this. And Paul, you know, empathy doesn't necessarily come very easily to me, but I do feel a level of empathy with your story, especially when it comes to the kind of fundamentalism, the literalism of the Bible. I do feel like there is a correlation between critical thinkers and people that apply that critical thinking to their religion when it's so literal, when it is so fundamental, like you said earlier, when it's 100% or 0%. I think when people finally do leave that religion, not only have they left that religion, but they've left that religion as an atheist. Because once you start to apply that critical thinking to that religion, it all just kind of falls apart from there. Anyway, I feel like, am I losing y'all yet?
No, we're listening, bud. We're listening. Keep going.
We're listening.
Yeah, you're good.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. It just feels awfully quiet. I'm like, oh my God. We're
nodding.
No, we're listening.
If you're, we're nodding and we're listening. So
okay. Okay. Yeah, sure.
But fast forward to where we're
at. Right. So, I'm 30 now. I have 4 kids. I'm married. My wife and I together, we have 2 kids. I had a son outside of it, and she had a daughter outside of it. They're the exact same age. So anyway, we're happily married. We have a house and good jobs and stuff.
Awesome.
But obviously I'm an atheist, you know, and it does create some issues. And to be honest with you, despite her, you know, being my wife, and she knows my history as one of Jehovah's Witnesses and the doubts that I've had, and because she's a very, very, very loose Christian, you know, kind of, if I thought in the mindset of a Jehovah's Witness, I would say she, you know, kind of the no true Scotsman. She's not a real Christian, obviously, you know, she doesn't know any scriptures, but that's how a lot of people are, non-denominational. But I, to be honest, I can't be forthcoming with her regarding being an atheist, and I haven't been since we've dated and got married and everything. And now, we just had our second child, 4 kids altogether. There's this pressure now to, I feel like she's getting a lot more into, and maybe, it's kind of having a child is a beautiful experience, whether you believe in God or not. Fuck the people that say, like, oh, how could you have kids and not believe in God? I don't have to believe in God to love my fucking child. I don't have to believe in God to teach my child to be a good person.
Right.
Anyway,
so do you have a
the
specific
pressure's on
question?
now, and I don't know. Huh?
Sorry, I was just wondering if you had a specific question about the situation you're in.
Oh, I'm not sure exactly how to, what's a good way to kind of tell her that I'm never going to be a Christian?
Well, there's several questions, and Shannon, did you want to jump, or should I take it for?
I can. Yeah, sorry, absolutely. I got distracted because I was spinning my enterprise and I dropped it. so sorry about that. Now, I think that all relationships should be based on a foundation of honesty if we expect them to continue. Now, if she knows your history but doesn't know that you are in fact an atheist, I think that it would be a good idea to have some conversations with her regarding where your belief system is and how that relates to your relationship. If you're afraid to bring it up, that would lead me to believe that you have some fears that there may be consequences if she finds out what your belief system is, or that you lack belief entirely. When you initially started dating her or were with her, have your beliefs evolved since then, or were you always an atheist and it's just now something that's coming to the forefront that you want to talk to her about?
I don't think they've necessarily evolved. I mean, I've learned more than as I've gotten into adulthood, delved into the content surrounding it. But I think I was an atheist before I knew I was an atheist. So,
but you're just feeling it, like you're able to articulate it confidently now.
Right. I would have told you I was a Gnostic when I was 17.
Oh, been there. Been there, done that. We've all gone through that story, Eric, I think. A lot of us, anyway.
Yeah.
Paul went straight.
And God delusion kind of changed my mind, but...
That's right. Paul had a hard line. I went through the Eric.
I was agnostic for a fraction of a second. Yeah, anyway.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah. So I guess the thing that I would give you as advice, and it's difficult giving advice in these sorts of situations without knowing the full context of what your relationship dynamic is, but I would say that it sounds to me like you've been an atheist since the beginning, and that your investment in her faith and is not something that's a deal breaker in the relationship. Like your investment in believing the same things that she believes, I guess I would say. So if she already knows that you don't believe the same thing that she believes, the label that you put upon that, whether it be, whether you're a Muslim who doesn't believe in her church, or whether you're a Buddhist who doesn't believe in her church, or whether you're an atheist who doesn't believe in her church, should all be interchangeable in regard to her perspective on you, because her relationship is with you, not with your belief system, unless and until your belief system starts to infringe upon or try to dictate things that occur in the relationship, or hers does, then it shouldn't be a factor, because you're the same person you were. It's not like there's a new break. She married an atheist. She just doesn't know that she did. I missed a beat here.
Daniel, what does your wife think that you believe?
Yeah, that's a good question.
So, with Shannon, I was going to tell you, from what you were saying, yes, that is absolutely the case. I think it's always been the case, but with kids now, it adds a new spin. The way we want to raise our children. as far as what she thinks I believe, I think she knows that I don't take any of it literally. I mean, that's a big thing. You know, she knows the fundamentalist kind of beliefs that I grew up in, and taking the Hebrew scriptures very literally, and she knows I don't buy that shit. So
a couple considerations. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
My marriage did break up. It was a final straw. There was many straws before that, but the final straw was this disconnect on belief. And so, I basically my whole life is giving people cautionary tales. Don't do what I did. And I would say, It sounds like what you shouldn't do is make a big deal about this label, because it's clearly she's aware that you have, as Shannon was saying, she's aware that you have a disconnect in beliefs. So I don't think intellectual honesty requires that you wear an atheist shirt, wherever you go. Like, it feels like, I think if your primary consideration is your kids, you both kind of have this right. Sorry, if your primary consideration is your kids, and sorry for the delay here on this one, the call, you must be aware that, like, they're going to be presented, if they're exposed with your wife and her family and her friends who do believe these things, these kids are going to be exposed to these ideas. The question is, are they being presented
I'm not worried about that.
Yeah, so I think what you need to, probably you need to figure out which hill you actually want to die on, if indeed there even is such a thing, and
right.
Ideally, you're not presenting these things as literally true. You'd prefer she doesn't. Go ahead.
Right. No, I've told her that, obviously I want our kids, because this was a big thing for me. I think part of the turning point for me in terms of, like, not believing in God, I had stayed home from school on September 11th, 2001, and I watched the second plane hit. I remember asking my mom, like, what the hell just happened? And her telling me it was, it's because of their faith. And that right there just was like, okay, fuck faith.
Right.
They believe they're just as right as we believe we're right, and so I've told her that, I want my kids to know all perspectives, and I don't, like, I never shoved, like, the terminology in her face, or like atheist or whatever. But I just try to find a way to, because she seems to be getting overboard with the whole Christian thing, and dedicating our children and making sure that they're raised Christian, as if that's the only way to raise someone morally. And I'm struggling to find a way to tell her that you don't have to raise a child as a Christian for them to be a moral person.
Well, I think, so my advice to you is to be the example of that. To be the example of the moral person in their life who doesn't believe. Right. So that they will have that example of, they will see some theist people, some Christians who are good people, and they will see atheists as good people, so that they will ideally eliminate that as the common thing. And I think as long as your strategies, you can't prevent your wife from teaching her kids what she wants to. So I think what you need to do is balance that. Be the balance who is offering critical thinking. When you see an ad on TV, and don't go after the religion, because that's just going to create strife in the home. But teach them things. So if they see a political claim or an advertising claim or whatever claims, and create the conversations with your children around, how do we know if that's true? Or a scientific claim. Masks can be a thing. It doesn't matter. When you start to teach them, it's so cliche, but if you're working on how to think rather than what to think, she's probably going to be concentrating on what to think. So you be the parent who's concentrating on how to think. And then I think that's, because if you're attacking Christianity constantly, this is just going to be a source of strife in this marriage, and it's going to affect the children. They're going to close down as religion as a topic that they can converse with you about. They're going to feel like they have to please mom or please dad. And that's not a situation you want to put your kids in. Does that make sense?
Wow. Yeah, that's an amazing point. You're right. And it's funny that you mentioned like the math thing or just general critical thinking, because I do feel like, at least with our children, like her daughter and my son, my stepdaughter and my son, I do feel like I'm the one that's telling them, essentially they don't have to believe everything they read on Facebook. They need to learn to verify the sources. They need to think critically about it, So it does apply, obviously, outside of just religion. And I wouldn't say I'm hammering it down her throat or anything. I almost feel like I'm too secretive about my doubts. I almost feel like I'm being manipulative sometimes when I know I say what she wants to hear when it comes to having faith and raising our kids as Christians. I almost want to be more forthcoming and say exactly what I think, but there is, what's crazy is like, go ahead.
Shannon's muted, unfortunately.
I'm muted. I'm muted now. Sorry. Hi. Can I give like a little bit of advice? I think that ultimately whether they are or not going to be Christians is going to be up to them. It's a decision for them to make, right? So when you're having conversations with your wife, I would maybe draw attention to the fact that you guys in these conversations, or she, it sounds like, is attempting to make this determination for them, whereas you're attempting to teach them how to make determinations. And drawing her attention to that will maybe be a little bit less, that'll put a few less walls up for her, because you're not closing the door. You're not saying I absolutely want to prevent them from being Christians. You're saying that it's not up to us to decide.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Right. It's their choice. And I really, truly don't give a shit. They're my
just
kids.
Want them to be good people.
That's what, as it.
Right. We do have to let you go, though, because we've been talking for a long time. Yeah. And that's what good parenting is, wanting them to be happy eventually. We appreciate you calling, though.
Thank you so much.
This is my first time, so I was.
You did great.
And all I would say is, Shannon and I may host again, and if you in a couple months, if you have some kind of update, or let us know how things are going.
Yeah.
Thanks
for sure,
Daniel.
Thanks, Daniel.
Hey, thanks for checking out this clip for The Line. While you're here, hit that like button, hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and then share this with that bitter uncle of yours who loves talking about the good old days.